Maine is a great place to do business because of its people and the people that grew up here, that know the work ethic of Mainers, truly get being involved in a family business or a business and what it takes to make it successful. June 15th was the first time we served Shipyard Export Ale at what is now Federal Jack's, but at the time was called Upper Deck, which was tied to the complex, the Shipyard Shops complex in Kennebunkport. It was a failed real estate deal, and at the time we were trying to figure out what to do with it. A friend of mine had been involved with the development failed, and it was sitting half vacant, but it was a great spot on the ocean. And I was visiting my brother Richard in Pensacola, Florida, and there was McGuire's Irish Pub and Brewery, and they just opened the brewery and it was doing really well. I thought if I could get a brewery there, a brew pub, that would be a great attraction. And I met with Richard and Eddie from Gritty McDuff's, and they thought they would go down there, and I learned more about the beer business, and they decided not to do it, and I decided to figure out how to make it happen there. Back in the late 80s and 90s, banks really didn't understand craft beer or brewing, and they hadn't really funded other craft beers. There wasn't anything out there in the industry. So getting a bank educated about that was difficult. Because of my real estate background, I was able to get some funding, but most of it had to be leveraged against real estate. At the time, you could get a lot of credit card debt, so you get these credit card invites, and before you knew it, I had 8 credit cards going with over $600,000 in credit card debt, and I pay off one, pay off another, open another one, and became a real art of trying to keep that balanced. But there wasn't a huge investor pool either. People weren't as excited as they are today about investing in beer, and I think they would be, but it wasn't the case. So long story short, we got some personal loans from friends, and the fact that you could get credit cards and borrow on them a little easier back then was a huge benefit. The key to Shipyard's growth early on was the quality of the product, and that started and ended with Alan Pugsley. I got lucky enough to meet Alan. He became a partner, and the fact that he's a scientist and understands the chemistry of beer, as well as loves beer and loves to brew beer, and had created a number of great recipes early on: Shipyard Export Ale, Bluefin Stout, a variety of beers that to this day are world-class beers and brewed the same way he wrote the recipe, over 20 years ago. We needed to move from Kennebunkport Harbor because we had maxed out the location in Kennebunkport. We were brewing 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and we needed a new facility. We looked actually in a lot of different spots, but luckily we found the old abandoned Crosby Laughlin plant. At the time it was over 4 acres and had been abandoned. And I got lucky enough to get a TIF from the city of Portland. I believe today the Shipyard TIF was one of the most successful in the state's history. We went from $20,000 in real estate taxes paid to now over $400,000 in the surrounding area of taxes paid. And we have over 900 employees in the state, but over 100 in Portland. And the site itself at the time in '94 was an abandoned warehouse. It was a rough area, and I think Shipyard was a catalyst to turn this area around. It's kind of exciting to be part of that today, looking back now that we have a Marriott next door and another new hotel opening, condos around us. It's my goal to be here, for the next 100 years or however long. Portland's here. How's that? I hate to be known as the old guy by some of the younger guys, but it's nice to know that Shipyard in this location in Portland helped create Portland as one of the top beer cities in the world, which is kind of amazing. But long after we're all gone, I believe Shipyard will be brewed in Portland on this site.